Thank you very much. If you would please stand if you want, and join me in a moment of prayer as we give thanks. Gracious and Heavenly Father God, we pause for a moment in our busy lives to give thanks for this wonderful city we are privileged to call our home. Heavenly Father, we ask your blessings upon each family. We ask your blessings upon all that is done in this wonderful community of Rome. Heavenly Father, we ask tonight that you grant wisdom to this body, that everything we think, say, and do is seen as good in your eyes. You are the shepherd, Lord. Where you lead, we will follow. In your most holy and precious name, we offer this prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner Quigg, and thank you all that participated with us tonight. All right, moving on. If you will, Mr. Clerk, roll call.
Yes, ma'am. Mayor Stevenson.
Here.
Commissioner Cochran.
Here.
Bojo.
Here.
Beeman.
Here.
Doss.
Here.
Quick.
Here.
Askew.
Here.
Collins.
Here.
McDaniel.
Here.
Okay, thank you. I think we've all had a chance to review the minutes of our April 25th meeting. There were no additions or corrections, and they will stand approved as common consent. And moving on to our proclamations tonight. First one up is our Peace Officers Memorial Day, and I'll call on Commissioner Askew.
It ain't funny. I know CPR is on it too. You good on my back? He's picking at me. I been over to tie my shoes just before I came in, and my back went pop, and I'm limping today, but that's all right. We're gonna make it through it. This proclamation is from the city of Rome and Floyd County, and so I get to give it and I get to take it back. And it reads, whereas from the beginning of this nation, law enforcement officers have played an important role in safeguarding the rights and freedoms which are guaranteed by the Constitution and in protecting the lives and property of our citizens. And whereas these individuals, known as law enforcement officers, are the guardians of life and property, defenders of the innocent, warriors in the battle against crime, and are dedicated to the preservation of life and property. And whereas it is important that our people know and understand the problems, duties, and responsibilities of their police department, and the necessity for cooperating with them in maintaining law and order. And whereas it is fitting and proper that we express our gratitude for the dedicated service and courageous deeds of law enforcement officers and for the contributions they have made to the security and well-being of all our people. And whereas we desire to honor the service, valor, and dedication of these law enforcement officers, now be it therefore resolved that in conjunction with Law Enforcement Memorial Week, May 15th through 21st, 2022, the Rome City Commission and the Floyd County Board of Commissioners hereby designate Friday, May 13th, 2022 as Peace Officers Memorial Day in honor of those peace officers who, through their courageous deeds, have lost their lives or have become disabled in the performance of duty. Signed, Rome City Commission Mayor Sunday Stevenson.
Madam Mayor and fellow commissioners, thank you for this opportunity and for the proclamation as a joint proclamation for us. This will be the 26th year of the annual Peace Officer Memorial Program, the 26th year. And it's been done each year to pay tribute to the officers that have served their communities and lost their lives for it. But also it's there to thank the parents, the families that have allowed their officers to work that job and to serve their community. And it's also an encouragement for current officers and future officers that want to participate and be in this profession, to give them encouragement to continue to do so. Sadly, we have 20 markers currently in our complex that range in dates from 1974 to 2011. We have 19 men and 1 female. That is still too many, even in our community. But we look forward to having everyone to come and be with us Friday, May the 13th at 11 o'clock. The program won't be long, about 45 minutes, but just to show homage for those that have lost their life, but also to encourage the rest of the officers that are still working and serving our community to say thank you, we appreciate you, and we're there for you. Thank you.
Next, we'll have our Professional Municipal Clerks Week. Mr. Carter. Our own Joe.
All right. Whereas the office of the Professional Municipal Clerk, a time-honored and vital part of local government, exists throughout the world, and whereas the office of the Professional Municipal Clerk is the oldest among public servants, and whereas the office of the Professional Municipal Clerk provides the professional link between citizens, the local governments, and agencies of government at other levels, and whereas professional municipal clerks have pledged to be ever mindful of their neutrality and impartiality, rendering equal service to all, and whereas the professional municipal clerk serves as the information center on functions of local government and the community, and whereas professional municipal clerks continually strive to improve the administration of the affairs of the office of the professional municipal clerks through participation in education, programs, seminars, workshops, and annual meetings of their state, province, county, and international professional organizations, and whereas it is most appropriate that we recognize the accomplishments of the office of the professional municipal clerk. Now, therefore, be it resolved that on behalf of the Rome City Commission, I, Sunday Stevenson, Mayor of the City of Rome, do hereby recognize the week of May 1st through May 7th, 2022 as Professional Municipal Clerks Week, and further extend to our professional municipal clerk, Joseph Smith, and to all professional municipal clerks for the vital services they perform and their exemplary dedication to the communities they represent. Given my hand and seal this the 9th day of May, in the year of our Lord, 2022, Mayor Sunday Stevens.
Congratulations, sir. Best work I know.
Thank you all on behalf of the City Clerk's Office, Joy, myself, and all the great staff. We appreciate this. And we all know that Rome's the best city in the state, and it's really an honor to work for the citizens. Yep. Thank you.
Joe, along with our attorney, he tries to keep us straight, keep us out of trouble, so we really appreciate it. Okay. Under guests tonight, we're going to have the State of the City presentation, and I'm going to call on our very own city manager, Sammy Rich.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and members of the commission. And so if you'll bear with me and if we can get the technology to work, and while Joe's going back to the lectern, I will say Joe is the best city clerk I have worked with at my time in the city of Rome. So Joe, congratulations.
I will agree with you.
He's a good one. He keeps us straight. He's got institutional knowledge that you just can't imagine. So good evening. It's an honor to be here in what feels like the first time in several years. I've been off the circuit, I guess you could say. I've not done State of the City in a while, and so since I've not done State of the City in a while, we might have to use a DeLorean for a portion of this to go back and maybe recount a couple of things that we've missed along the way. So bear with me. We've got quite a few slides, and so we'll try to keep this down to 2 hours at least. I don't know. There's a lot you can say about COVID. If you'll bear with me, I'm going to try to adjust the lights so the audience can see just a bit better. Slightly improved. And so I don't want to spend a whole lot of time talking about all the things that we've been trying to forget, but COVID, what can you really say? And what we're good at are these things: the building inspection, water, sewer, police, fire, clerk that we just talked about. So back to normal reality. And as we have talked, and as you all know, that even during a global pandemic, I have found that our citizens really appreciate having access to police, fire. They appreciate clean water pretty much around the clock. And so, COVID or not, we really had to keep on keeping on and do what we had to do. So we'll spend a good bit of time looking at financials, try not to bore everyone to tears with spreadsheets. But I will say that, one of the positives for us has been the positive financial impact. So even though we've had an interesting time with COVID, I know a lot of businesses have struggled in different ways. For the city in particular, it's been pretty good for us financially. We'll look at some of those details. One of the things I'm most proud of as city manager is our ability to increase police and fire pay for public safety pay. And y'all know this is something we wrestled with. It's quite frankly, it's expensive, and it's expensive for our community. But I've yet to find anyone willing to say they don't deserve it, they don't need it, and we don't care if they show up or not when we call 911. And so I feel like, all things being said and done, it's been a great investment to help us in our ever-changing world that we live in. And you guys know it's hard to not only attract, but then we want to retain when we get our folks. And so it's important. So a lot of projects. We're off to a very busy start this year. And before we get into some projects, I want to really test your eyesight. And so we're going to look at some of these really exciting charts. So for the finance nerds in the room, complete silence on both sides. Nobody, not even a single hand goes up. So in some of these areas, we're going to look at a 10-year, maybe more trend, looking at the data. So looking at our general fund revenues, as you can see, the chart, it gets a little higher to the right, which means that there's more revenue. So looking at 21, we're up to about $37 million. So that's a good sign when you're in the business of needing to spend money. And so looking at us, the correlating slide is general fund expenses. And so this is sort of the meat and potatoes of where money goes to operate our city business. And so as you look, and again, you can see how we've tracked upward. And again, for 21, we were a smidge over $35 million. And so you may be asking, well, okay, that graph is going up. What are y'all doing? Why are you spending more money? Well, I don't know if y'all know this, but everything at home is also more expensive. I spent half of yesterday complaining about the $10 pack of bacon I bought. But you know what? I still bought it, still grilled it. It was good. But when things go up, I have to pay more. And so same as the city of Rome. When things are more expensive here, we have to spend more money. I just told you about public safety pay increase. And so that's an area when we pay more, it costs more. And so suffice to say, it's expensive to operate an operation such as the city, but we do try to be as efficient as we can, and I take a great amount of pride in us trying to stay under budget anywhere and everywhere we can. Ad valorem taxes, everybody loves to get their tax bill at home. I usually get that comment a lot. And so here you can see, again, we're trending along pretty well, and up 21, 12.76 million after a slight dip in 2020. So, lost revenues. This is one of those that's impressive. When you look at our funds, where does the money come from? About 20%, give or take, of our revenue source comes from sales tax. And so, again, you look back at the COVID, you look at the impact, but it's been very, very strong. And so you can see in 21 we reached $7.87 million. And again, I'd be remiss not to point out the Marketplace Fairness Act. Y'all may recall we used to have a former city commissioner, Buzz Wachstetter, that I think he spent more time thinking about this and encouraging this than anyone else combined. And so even during COVID, we have a positive revenue and sales tax, which told me that a lot of you were probably at home ordering on Amazon instead of having to go to work. And so that's good news for the City of Rome revenues. Franchise fee revenues, these have basically remained flat. And if you're wondering what a franchise fee revenue may be, the Georgia Powers of the world and other utilities, they pay the City of Rome a percentage of revenues for the privilege of getting to install their infrastructure within city rights-of-way. So this is just one of the pieces of the puzzle. Millage rate. Millage rate is a slide that I think it bears spending a moment on. And again, you may not be able to see the fine print. But this one, we actually go a 20-year horizon. And so if you look all the way over to the left and all the way back to the right, you will see a couple of minor increases. And so this is one of those points of pride. And to state the obvious, we've not had a city increase since 2016, and that was something that we wrestled with, but it was necessary. And then you have to go back to about 2003 to find the last City of Rome increase. We did have an increase for city schools back in 2010. But what this picture tells you is slow, steady, and consistent, and that's something that I take a lot of pride in for our operation. Talked a little bit earlier about police, public safety pay. Here you can see as we are more fully staffed and as we have pay increases, you're going to spend a little more money, so roughly a smidge over $9 million. And so I'm thankful for the personnel. I'm thankful for the problem of us having to pay a little more in police, because it's definitely money well spent. What you've got now is a composite of all of the public works expenses, because as you guys know, we do different things in public works, from streets, traffic, electrical, engineering. And so this is the 10-year chart. And again, you can see it slightly ticks up as we get to the right of the screen. And so as Chris Jenkins has staffed up and hired more and additional employees, those costs have gone up slightly. Then general fund balance. And so anybody at home got a piggy bank? Yep. So when we talk about general fund balance, it's basically as we talk about a piggy bank. And so we have been able to put more money in savings in the last couple of years. And so it's been a great problem to have. And there's really not a whole lot of magic to why we've been able to do this. One is we've got great department heads who are conscientious. It's not a spend it if you got it, because you'll lose it. Nobody thinks like that. So we try to not have that. But at the end of the day, it's expensive to run our operations. And when things get bad, we have found they get bad really quickly. And then you start laying off employees or cutting services. And so to have a good rainy day fund is definitely a good position for us to be in. But full disclosure, when we look at fund balance, it is a single snapshot in time. And it is the point in time where we've got the most money. Tax revenues have been collected, they're in the bank, and then we start spending down from there. And so it is simply that, but it is a good sign for a very solid overall economic look for the city. Something we also monitor, and looking at this trend, is just simply the average daily water flows at our water filter plant. And you can see the kind of overall trend here is less water being served up. And so we're at about 6.4 million gallons a day for 21. This is one of those slides that's guaranteed to win you trivia night. I'm sure of it on Broad Street. So water sewer debt. One of the things that we know is it's expensive to be in the water and sewer business. And so having debt is just part of the norm. We're very fortunate that we saw a great deal of our debt fall off very recently. And so as this graph depicts, you can see the amount of debt has gone off a cliff. And so while that's a great problem, I do know that it's going to be temporary, because unfortunately, as most of you know, we're working against some upstream contaminants, and we're having to go to a reverse osmosis system. So for those of you not following along, it's a pretty large operation for the city, something on the magnitude of $100 plus or minus $1 million. And so we know we're going to have future debt. That's just a part of what we're going to be dealing with. So this slide depicts water sewer rates, and again, this is looking back, where we've always taken the position, slow incremental increase, not any one big increase at one time. And so that's what this graph will simply depict. Now, clearly we know we've had to do a little steeper increase for this coming year, so the slide next year is not going to be as pretty, unfortunately. Water sewer revenue, you can see where revenues are climbing, which again is a good thing because, quite frankly, we've got a $100 million mountain to climb, and so we're well on our way to trying to position ourselves to do the best we can, but a definite positive sign for the water sewer operation. Fun fact, we track Stonebridge Golf just to see how things are going, and again, positive to see. I think a lot of folks may have played golf back during the COVID era and looking for a way to get out of the house, and so here we're looking at a 14-year trend, and just kind of a cool little, another one of those trivia night factoids for you. This slide, I don't know how well you can see it, but it's where we look at the average revenue per round, and so if you'll notice that very bottom right corner, the amount for 21 was $38.77, and so that's something that has trended up, and so Joe, I would say Stonebridge had a good year, and that's great news. So can't miss out on speaking about the financial impact that federal money has had. I've said this before, regardless of your political persuasion, when the city is given federal money, it's my job to make sure that we deal with it and treat it appropriately, and we plug it into where it's the most impact. And so the $1.9 million in CARES money, the lion's share of that went to public safety, and now we've moved on to the American Rescue Plan Act funds, and that's roughly an $11 million. So I've got a couple of slides about that. So moving out of financials, talk a little bit about some of the things that we've been working on, and maybe some reminders. Rome Tennis Center, one of the shining stars, and COVID was tough on the tennis business, just so you guys know. As it's good for some areas, it's also, it will let you lose about 42 tennis tournaments when people don't play tennis. But we were able to dedicate our new indoor facility, and just as a reminder for you keeping up, the Rome Tennis Center we were able to build from SPLOST revenues, and the indoor we actually borrowed the money, so we issued debt. And so, but again, this is one of those facilities that's first class, and it's a 6-court facility that's absolutely critical to allow us to continue to attract and retain our big tournaments. And I'm really proud of this photo because for it to be a ginormous building, it absolutely fit into that site as well as I would have ever dreamed it would do. And so it's the big building up at the top if you guys have not been out there. And would be remiss not to thank our partners with Berry College in the construction of their new Fairfield Inn and Suites. And so it's a great neighbor there at the Rome Tennis Center. So one of the changes, again, for those of you keeping up, is the management, the private management of the Rome Tennis Center. Proud to say that we have chosen Cliff Drysdale Tennis, and so earlier this year, Cliff Drysdale has taken over the operations, and you may be interested to know that Troon is the parent company of Cliff Drysdale and also of Indigo Golf Partners, and Indigo is the group that manages Stonebridge, so both of those are in-house now. So Cliff Drysdale doing a great job for us. We recently hosted the ACC. I think Doug Walker may have logged more hours out at the tennis center than any other Roman. I'm pretty sure that he still got a tan from that. And so just some great, Doug's always out there in the middle of the action and does a great job of bragging about what we see and what we hear. And I love always hearing Doug's comments when he talks to the folks from out of town and out of state, because they have very nice things to say. And so just some of I'm not sure if these girls were sending Doug a photo or a selfie, or they were celebrating. They might have Duke might have beat Virginia. I don't know which one of those. And again, I think the Virginia men took home their second championship after beating North Carolina. And so again, if you love, hate, or don't know anything about tennis, I hope this slide, just marinate on this slide a minute. $25.4 million. That is economic impact. Why did they build that tennis center? Okay, here's your slide. Next time your neighbor asks you, here's the number. Just remember this. So if you own a gas station, if you own a hotel, if you own a restaurant, somehow you've participated in receiving part of that $25.4 million. So there's your answer. That's why tennis is a win for this community. Not to overlook pickleball. Pickleball is sort of the next greatest thing, and if you drive by the downtown tennis center, you'll see pickleball played at pretty much any given day now. We'll talk a little bit about trail connectivity expansion. We've had a lot of activity recently with the Mount Berry Trail. Again, the map's a little grainy from here, but if you're looking at the red line on the left of the screen, that is the Mount Berry Trail. And so our friends and partners with Floyd County recently got their bridge project in place that will now allow us to connect from the end of the levee. So we're going to talk a little more about that. SPLOST funded $1.8 million. A couple of slides for those of you that have not been fortunate enough to go out and take a look, but this is some of the most beautiful scenery in our entire community, and this is the current end of the trail. And so you are at Big Dry Creek here, and you really can't make this map out, but to the left, running vertical, is Big Dry Creek. And so our phase, we've got a bridge over that creek, and then to your right, if you can see the roadway on the right of the screen, that is the Armuchee Connector. So what you may be able to make out is how the trail will cross over the creek. We will snake around to the north, and you can see the black outline, and connect to the Armuchee Connector. You hang a right, and then you hang another right, and you're in the parking lot at the Braves Stadium. And then you will be on your way to headed back down to the confluence. So for the first time in our history, we will have a loop trail. And I'm telling you, that's the good stuff that's really going to be exciting for us as a community, because we're going to be able to market that. And we're working now to brand the trail system, and so you're going to hear more about that in the coming days. Redmond Trail, I mentioned the county piece that will allow us to connect behind the post office at Coligny. And so Redmond, we've already bought some of the right-of-way from Norfolk, the red line you may see on the screen. And so this will allow us to go from the post office, go to Somerville Park, Talbot Park, and then head on out to Advent, ultimately over toward the Spires. And so it's very exciting. So busy time for trails. We got a lot going, we've had a lot of fun. There's great things to come. Some of you may have missed that we celebrated 150th for the clock tower. I'm not sure who the guy on the left is. He looks like a former mayor I know, but he was in costume that day. He did a great job. You guys may have heard, again, keeping up at home, that we're in the middle of working on our new Unified Land Development Code. Artagas and the planning department, they're doing a great job. It's been a hurry up and wait proposition as we work to get a draft ready for public consumption. And so a couple of slides from one of the input sessions we had over at the Marriott. A couple of projects I want to brag on. Again, compliments of SPLOST, the new playground facilities out at Ridge Ferry Park. If you've not taken your kids or your grandchildren out to see the Clock Tower Playground, that is a huge missed opportunity. Parks Hope Park in South Rome, some of you are familiar with. Work underway currently to demolish the concrete pad that's there, and we're going to be building a new basketball covered pavilion with restrooms. And so I hope that this group will be down there and that you all will come join us and cut a ribbon in August of this year. So this is a good project. We've already got material staged on site, and so they're moving. Barron Stadium, a couple of quick photos, also funded out of the SPLOST. We were able to put down new turf, which a couple of just slideshows of that. It's a little more advanced than stretching it out in the living room. But I tell you, I'm very proud of Barron Stadium as a facility. It shows extremely well. And if you've never watched a football game be televised at Barron, you'd be proud when the camera pans over. It's beautiful. There's a beautiful backdrop of the city with a clock tower. It's exciting, and it's one of those things that I'm proud that it's an asset within our community. East Central Access Road, again, probably the smallest SPLOST project out of 17. It's had a huge amount of impact down at 14th and Bobo. We went out, and I think it was pretty cold that day because everybody was bundled up, and so we had finally got to have that ribbon cutting, and I've heard nothing but positive results. Public safety. Thanks again to SPLOST, we were able to acquire a tanker truck. We got a Quint that's, I believe, at Station 3, this particular truck. Other facilities that we've been able to do. This beauty you see here, this was vintage 1976. That's 45 for those without your calculator. 45 years old. So fire training up on North Avenue, We have done some amazing work. Here's our fire chief on the day of dedicating the burn building, and those guys, I'm proud to say, are some of the finest, best trained firefighters anywhere in the state, and it's thanks to a community that allows us to reinvest. Rome Police, same thing. We were able to deploy SPLOST dollars to help with our fleet of vehicles, to be able to have a take-home vehicle policy for police, which is really, it used to be kind of a luxury, but now it's just more one of those to try to keep up with what your neighbors are doing. And so that we're proud to be able to do this. Quite a bit of technology inside there. Chief, I don't know if we can communicate with the space shuttle, but I have a feeling we're close to that. I mentioned the ARPA, American Rescue Plan. Again, can't really see this list. There's some exciting things out of this almost $11 million. One of those I'm proud of that I would mention is the Commission's decision to invest in our city parks. And so anytime we can invest in our children, I think that's going to pay dividends going forward. Another exciting project, 110 Broad Street. This is going to be a business incubator, and so our DDA is working with our community development office. Great plans coming for this project. It's going to put some new life into a section of Broad Street that's going to be pretty exciting. We've got a boathouse project at South Meadows. We got an architect working on the Eco Center expansion, so we tried to lump those projects in, all out of the SPLOST. The West 3rd Streetscape, one of the most I would say exciting projects this city is going to undertake anytime soon. So I hope if you've not been following along that this one will really get your attention. Pond & Company's doing the engineering on this, but when it's finished and you've got a new streetscape and you've got new trees and decorative furniture, I think it's going to be transformative for an area that's going to see some really unprecedented growth. So I want to transition in, talk a little bit about housing. Lord knows we have had a lot of conversations about housing. If you can see this slide, it's specific to what was going on with Rome-Floyd County, and inventory appears to be taking a nosedive, and pricing appears to be on the increase. And so, I'm not a guru of real estate, but I know when we've had problems, and I know when we've had needs, what we've had to do to try to move forward. So just to quote my dear friend who is in the audience, Jimmy Byers, I really like this quote from Jimmy. In 2010, during the recession, there were 835 houses on the market and around 75 million in sales. Fast forward to 2021, 102 houses on the market, and they did over 300 million in sales. So it's an incredible, you got to be kidding me kind of moment. And so because of that, because of where we've been, and because of some opportunity to try to get ahead and do something, the city, partnering with our friends at the Development Authority, with Floyd County, with our friends at George Power, and endeavor to get into some housing summits. And, you know, some folks actually paid attention and started knocking on our door. I have been asked over and over and over, well, what's out there? What are we seeing? What do you guys know? So thanks to Bryce in the planning department, Bryce has been working on creating a way for us to track what's in the pipeline. What do we know about? So while you really can't see this unless you've got a telescope, let me tell you that this is a list of about 14 projects that we are aware of, meaning they're in some stage of process within our community. Of these, this list represents 4,487 residential units. 3,639, or 81%, in the city of Rome. Y'all, I've been in Rome-Floyd since 2002. This is unprecedented for us. This is unheard of. And so suffice to say, things are interesting right now in terms of residential and what may be on the cusp of us. And so when I say 4,400, y'all, that's hard to get your brain wrapped around. So this is our current reality. This is where we are, and these guys know it better than anyone. But just to hit some of these highlights, it's the things we've all known and talked about. Pleasant Valley Reserve, around 1,000 units. The Point, again, 200 plus mixed units up at North 5th, Martha Berry. Beautiful project, at least conceptually. Avalon out off 411, another 1,200 plus or minus units. with a concept, and then we got our very own South Rome Alliance. I think Jake is on the front row, and so another 80 units. Jake, I noticed you don't have a shovel in your hand. I didn't want to call you out publicly, but that opportunity just so I'm not sure what that means. Maybe you had loaned yours out. But again, that's another 80 units. So I want to wrap up a little bit on the projects and the housing side. I'm telling you, we just find ourselves in a very interesting time in our community. It really is, and I've been here for a while, and so to see this, it's exciting. It really is. It's who knows what's going to come, but you know, we often talk about assets. So what's the city of Rome's most valuable? What's the most valuable? So while it's exciting to talk about these, the easy answer is it's our employees, because we have the best, and we're a service organization, and so if we don't have employees, we're not out providing service, and we're not doing a good job. And I suspect that 4,000 some odd folks don't have anything to bring to a community that they don't want to be in. So we've got a group that works tirelessly day after day, making Rome exceptional. This guy, I will tell y'all this, some of our hardest working employees, some of our hardest working also have the biggest smiles. So Brownie says hello. We've got you. You think you're doing something right. You miss picking up garbage, as John Bennett would always tell me. You miss picking up somebody's garbage a day or two. They'll let you know how how important you are. And so some of the hardest jobs in the city. I'm thankful. We've talked a lot about our public safety. I'm thankful that we've got public safety that's, you know, they put themselves in harm's way. They sign up for this every day, like Ricky Mills, Chase Burns. Exceptional. You know, here's a rare moment where we let police and fire fraternize together. I don't know how that happened. That was weird. This was a most wanted slide. I'm not even sure how this got in here. But this guy, Art, you can't go to Art's office and not feel welcome to this city, not feel helped. It just don't happen. Becky Fox and the community development team, they've done an incredible job, and this is one of those departments that if they're not working on infrastructure, sidewalks and places you don't know about, then they're putting property back into productive uses. So it's another cool part of our team. I talked to you about police. Same thing with fire, you know. You got guys that are willing to run into the house that's on fire to save somebody, whether it's property or life. So Richard DeBello does a great job. Another happy bunch. Yeah, it's easy for us to point out these city uniforms. Cops, firefighters. What about Jacob Forster, the new lab supervisor? So Jackie is the lady in the front. She's pointing out some lab equipment that is sort of bringing back a bad memory from chemistry class for me. But you don't necessarily think of the city of Rome that we've got scientists that work in labs every day. It's not just what you may think about. And then what are these folks doing? You know, not only do they get up and come to work every day to do something, you know, incredible, but then on their off time, they're out ringing bells, raising money for Salvation Army, or they're picking up trash, litter. You know, Hannah doesn't know anything about that. So I'm thinking this looks more fun than a Segway scooter. But just so you know, what he's actually doing is he's cutting the asphalt. So this is Calvin King, and he was over there cutting the asphalt so we could dig it up to add new water sewer to facilitate that $2 million streetscape I just told you about earlier. So human resources, that's a group of rock stars there. We know those folks. It takes a lot. We're a pretty demanding organization. You can imagine it takes a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff that has to be purchased with Becky Smith and her team. Have I mentioned we're a Tree City, USA? We've got to trim the trees. The new speed table, I hope everyone in here's had a chance to run over it. And it made you think, oh, I better slow down, because that's the point. Makes you slow down. We got more of those coming soon. Guys working on a hot day, we like to cool off and offer them a slushie occasionally. And then we get to this guy. It's like a family when a department raises money for those internally. They raise money for themselves. And I don't know if John Boyd was telling me peace out or I'm not sure what he was doing in this, but he's one of those that works tirelessly. Day in and day out. So as I close out State of the City, we're going to transition into our next agenda item, which is something very special that we've been working on inside the city for our employees, namely human resources, when I say we. But before I move to the Bridge Academy, let me conclude our state of the city by saying the city's in great financial shape. Our staffing levels are very solid, and we have a very busy but exciting program of work before us. Madam Mayor, Commissioners, thank you for the trust and confidence that you place in me and our entire city staff. So thank you. There's never been a better time to be in Rome. Y'all are too kind, too kind. Thank you very much. And now the real reason that we've got people in the crowd, because if this guy would go sit down, they're thinking, if he'd just stop talking. And that is to tell you a little bit about our employee engagement. And so I hope most of the commissioners know about employee engagement. It's something that we've been working on. I can't tell y'all enough how proud I am of our Human Resources Department. Just really incredible, because we go to work every day, we're putting out fires, we're dealing with the stuff, and then because we're lucky, we've got good people on the side who are doing the things that really separate us just from being a place to go to work to being a place that people really want to go have a career at. And that makes a difference. And so I want to tell you just a little bit about the employee engagement who came up with the idea of the Bridge Academy. So a Bridge Academy, building a responsive, inclusive, and diverse group of employees. And so this group, they have kicked off their inaugural year, and we have just had graduation. And I'll be dang if we were going to let an opportunity pass without getting these graduates up here. Any graduates here? Anyone? So can I ask our graduates to make their way up to the front of the room? And then I'm going to ask our Human Resources Director, and maybe Christy, Sarah, y'all want to come over and tell us a little bit about what this group is all about and what they've been up to? So if you are a graduate of our inaugural class, would you please make your way? Don't be shy. Just follow Kelly Parker. Madam?
I'm going to be very brief because, like Sammy said, this is an employee engagement committee, so we're trying to change the culture, retention, and all those things. So Sarah Huffman, our risk manager for the city, she's the organizer, the creative mind behind a lot of this, and I'm going to let her speak to it.
So the Bridge Academy came out of an idea that was proposed in our employee engagement survey that we did back in 2019, and I appreciate Sammy and Christy for allowing me the creative freedom to design this program how we best saw fit for our employees. So this is part of my employee engagement committee. Unfortunately, I'm missing some of the members, but they were the inaugural class. We went through to try to work out some of the kinks, and then we're going to allow other employees to go through it. But as we were working together as a committee to do things for our employees, we realized that we're working together, but we didn't even know what each other did on a daily basis. So that was kind of the point of this. So we actually got to visit each division of the city. Each month was a different theme, and we actually went to the facilities. We got to do tours. We got to hear presentations from the directors and management staff of those areas to really give the employees an idea of what each other goes through on a day-to-day basis. So I guess I'll name everybody. Y'all lined up nicely. So we have Jackson Abercrombie from the purchasing department, Christy Kent from tourism, Suzanne Paris from community development, Kelly Parker from the city manager's office, Hannah Bagley from Keep Rome Floyd Beautiful, Lisa Winston from the transit department, Rhonda Flemister from Rome Police Department, Jamie Stone from Rome Fire Department, and I am missing Michelle Castrojohn from the Rome Police Department, John Hendricks from Water Department, and Jeff Hill from the Water Department. So that is our group.
just want to say again, congratulations to these graduates, and I want the City Commission to know that this is the future of our workforce. So thank you. Good job. Good job. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Manager, and Christie, you are from our HR department. Okay, now, if you all came just for the bridge, and you all need to leave, we'll take a minute or two and we'll allow you all to leave, but thank you, but you're welcome to stay. You're welcome to stay for the rest of it. But thank you all for all that you do. We appreciate you. And they are all leaving. Okay, moving on to resolutions. We'll start with A, our 2022 election qualifying fee enclosure. Clark?
Madam Mayor, even though this is not a city election year, we are going to have a special election this year to coincide with the November general election for one vacancy on the Rome Board of Education. As you know, there's been a resignation and someone has been appointed temporarily. However, that post will be on this year's ballot. And as we normally do, the City Commission needs to set the qualifying fee. And our qualifying fee is always at 3%, and we need to officially set that for this year's election. And that's what the resolution in front of you is designed to do. Need a motion and a vote?
So moved.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Do I have any discussion?
Just a question, Mr. Clerk, how much is that fee?
It is 3% of the annual salary. That salary is currently $4,200 per year, so the qualifying fee will be $126. And the qualifying period will be on its normal cycle as well, and that'll be the third week of August in the city clerk's office.
Okay, thank you. Do I have any other discussion? Okay, if not, Mr. Clark, if you will, call it.
Yes, ma'am. Commissioner Cochran,
Yes.
Bojo,
Yes.
Beeman,
Yes.
Doss,
Yes.
Quick,
Yes.
Askew,
Yes.
Collins,
Yes.
McDaniel.
Yes.
Okay, thank you all for that. Okay. Moving on to our first reading. I'll also call on Mr. Clark for the first reading.
Yes, ma'am. The Planning Commission has been busy once again and has sent 5 items for first reading tonight. 1 annexation, a special use permit request, and 3 rezonings. And those are, the first item is the annexation, and that is for 112 Fieldwood Road to be annexed with its current zoning of suburban residential. The second is a special use permit request for a change in use from a hotel to apartments for property zoned community commercial and located on Avenue A. That's the remnant of the old hotel that is there. The third item is a rezoning from office institutional to suburban residential for property located at Burnett Circle near Burnett Ferry Road. Next is a rezoning request from heavy commercial to light industrial for property located at 14 and 15 Commerce Court. And the last item is also a rezoning request from neighborhood office commercial to duplex residential for property located at 301 and 303 Redmond Road. All 5 of these come to you with unanimous recommendation from the Planning Commission, and they've all 5 been scheduled for a public hearing at our next meeting on May 23rd.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Clark. Looking forward to it. Okay, moving on to our second reading. Item A, alcohol sales permit ordinance amendment. Keeping you busy tonight.
It's okay. This is an ordinance amendment to our alcohol code, and it expand the requirement for the alcohol sales permit. Currently, those are required of most everyone who works in a pouring establishment, beer, wine, or liquor, and those who work in liquor package. This expansion would also place that requirement on security guards who are working at pouring establishments who are not already certified police officers. So those individuals would have to go through the same background investigation as the folks who have already been required to have a card. And if there's a felony conviction, that typically prohibits the person from holding that card.
Thank you. Okay, with that, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, have a motion and a second. Have any discussion? No discussion, if you will, Mr. Clerk, call the roll.
Commissioner Cochran,
Yes.
Bojo,
Yes.
Beeman,
Yes.
Doss,
Yes.
Quick,
Yes.
Askew,
Yes.
Collins,
Yes.
McDaniel.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, that's been approved. Okay, item B, the ordinance amendment, local limits for discharge to public sewers.
So, Madam Mayor, as we discussed in caucus, this is basically a housekeeping matter. We do have on the books restrictions on the amounts of allowable pollutants that can be discharged into our wastewater system. And so what this is we're essentially readopting what we've already adopted, but we do need to do this as an ordinance amendment, and that's what is before you tonight. So we will need a motion and second and a vote on that.
Okay, I will entertain a motion.
So moved.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? No discussion. Mr. Clerk, if you will, call the roll.
Commissioner Cochran,
Yes.
Bojo,
Yes.
Beeman,
Yes.
Doss,
Yes.
Quick,
Yes.
Askew,
Yes.
Collins,
Yes.
McDaniel.
Yes.
Okay, that motion carries. Thank you. There's nothing continued on first reading. And now we have a public hearing. And as you know, this was tabled. And so I will entertain a motion to take this off the table.
Move to take it off the table.
I have a motion, I have a second.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? No discussion. No discussion. Okay.
Okay. Commissioner Cochran,
Yes.
Bojo,
Yes.
Beeman,
Yes.
Doss,
Yes.
Quick,
Yes.
Askew,
Yes.
Collins,
Yes.
McDaniel.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, off the table. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. We have one request for you tonight. It is requesting to rezone from office institutional to heavy industrial. The property is outlined in red here. This is the old Northwest Regional Hospital site. Does
Just
It always works in action movies, so.
you got it.
Go back.
Yep.
As I said, the applicant parcel is outlined in red. This is on Division Street. We'll go through some pictures here. That is the current zoning map. There already is heavy industrial to the adjacent west, as well as some existing industry. Looking into the property from the gates, from Division Street. Some of the existing housing on the property. Back towards John Davenport. The application itself from the Development Authority. Staff did put a couple of conditions on this related to the intersection, but it appears that that's not even an issue because they're planning to have a new point of ingress and egress. Showing the existing buildings on the property. A survey that was provided by the Development Authority. And this did come with the unanimous approval from the Planning Commission. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, at this time, I will declare the public hearing open. Do we have anyone here to speak in favor of? Do we have anyone here to speak in opposition of? Okay, each side will have 10 minutes, and you would like to save some time, Missy, before Rebecca can do so. If you will, when you go to the podium, give us your name and address.
Good evening. My name is Missy Kendrick. I'm with the Rome-Floyd County Development Authority, and I'm here tonight to represent my board, who is a 7-member board, cross-section of members within our community, made up of representatives from the City of Rome, as well as the Floyd County Commission, the Chamber of Commerce, the Greater Rome Existing Industry Association, and 3 at-large members that are appointed by those constitutional members of my authority. Our goal for being here tonight, or the reason that I'm here tonight, is to again request the rezoning of the hospital property from office institutional to heavy industrial in order to attract high-paying jobs, high-skilled jobs, and capital investment to an area of the community that has sat vacant for over 11 years, and to attract this investment in a less developed census tract with a high poverty rate. And we are currently in the process of applying for grants for some plans for the property. I know that at our last meeting, Commissioner Collins made mention of the fact that we didn't have a plan or didn't seem to understand or be able to present what our plan was for the property. So, Sammy, do you have the...
There's a tab.
There is a tab.
In the PDF, Bryce might be able to, it's already open, should already be open, and Joe can go back to the podium.
So it may be difficult to see overhead here, but one thing, and I will try to use the pointer that we see. One of the conceptuals that we're looking at is the possibility of retaining some of the buildings that we have on the property. One of the buildings that we plan to retain is this building here in the center, if our conceptual will allow it, is the retention of this building here to use as a daycare center for the employees of the industries and the existing and new industries that will be attracted here, and as an incentive to come to work here. Also, there is currently a chapel on site that we would like to retain. We also there are some covered pavilions here on this side that I thought would be a great little facility to retain because it has a kitchen, it has a meeting space, and it has 2 different areas for employees to meet. And so what we have put together here is a potential conceptual for future use. It includes a 100-foot buffer around the east side of the property and potential new entrances to the site off of Redmond Road. So that's what you'll see here. These new entrances will require the help of the city moving forward if we end up with a new entrance and egress out of the property. So we are here to again present this, and I hope with a little more clarity and a little more understanding of what it is that we're trying to do. And I will relinquish any time for rebuttal. Thank you.
6.5 minutes left. Okay, this time, and those in opposition of you have a total of 10 minutes. And if you'd like to speak, give us your name and your address, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Danny Price, General Counsel, Berry College. My home address is 6 Wood Valley Drive, Rome, Georgia, 30165. I'm here not in my personal capacity, but to speak on behalf of the President and the Board of Trustees of Berry. Let me first start by saying I think it's fairly well understood that Berry has a significant history of promoting economic development, industrial development in the city and county. We've been a fantastic partner to work with. We've worked with the Development Authority. We've worked with the Chamber. I've worked steadily with Heather Seckman for a number of years, and now with the Development Authority. We've done phase 1, phase 2, grad certified, cleared pieces. We dedicated some 20 years ago about 1,100 acres down Tech Parkway, the vast majority of which still sits unsold, which is less than a mile from this particular site. It's all shovel ready. It's all well, not all grad certified. We've done the phase 1 and phase 2. We haven't gotten to that point. One of the concerns that the college has is this creates another competitor for land that we're committed to sell for a fairly cheap price that has rail service and other opportunities on a large 4-lane road that doesn't require turning off of the bypass onto Redmond and then into another entrance, which even when I went through the Economic Development Academy when I lived in Savannah, it's not something that truckers tend to like to do. I suppose the other reason that Berry would have concerns about it is it's sort of hard to think of Berry and not think of a lot of our faculty and staff who live in Somerville Park. There's an awful lot of people who work on our campus who live there. The other concerns, this will be less than 0.6 of a mile from the back of 3 of our largest dormitories. I understand there are discussions about amendments for traffic and some other concerns. That does not deal with emissions. That does not deal with smells. It does not deal with the types of things that come along with industrial development. And it's less than 0.4 of a mile from the Spires, a $160 million facility that Berry put significant money into the development of, that is still working to reach stabilized occupancy. And there are obviously concerns about if an industrial prospect were to come here, what type of effect is it going to have on that? I would say the reality from my background in development and zoning is that once it's rezoned, conditions are not, the use is the use. You can tell people what they can do or can't do, but if the ULDC says otherwise, then you just end up in litigation. I understand what the preferences are, and we appreciate that the conditions are being set to try and accommodate the neighborhood. One of the things that we've done well at Berry, without question, even with the significant land resources that we have, is the officers and the Board of Trustees have been very, very wise in waiting for the right opportunities. And the concern of the college is that perhaps moving forward with this on a heavy industrial directly adjacent to what is largely a residential area and is close to some other new developments. We even have 14.4 acres under contract for additional multifamily housing off Woodrow Wilson, which would be less than, what, 1/3 of a mile from this, Jimmy? A lot of things going on in that area. We would just ask the commission to give great consideration to whether or not this is exactly the right time to do this. If they're applying for grants and planning for a TAD, that means they're not talking about necessarily the specifics of a bid to the state. They're talking about trying to go out and recruit someone specifically for that site. You can always then rezone it when you have that package put together, and that's what we'd ask you to do. Thank you.
You have 5.5 minutes left.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm Penny Evans Plants at 511 Charlton Street, Rome, Georgia 30165. I live within Somerville Park, and most of you know that I spoke at the last commission meeting in opposition, and we are very grateful to the Development Authority and to the commissioners for trying to work with us and come to some compromises. And we are very thankful for that. To move the entrance is a lot, and we appreciate that. But our biggest concern, again, comes back to heavy industrial in a residential in the middle of city when, as Mr. Price mentioned, less than a mile away is already zoned heavy industrial on Technology Parkway. And it seems like it's taking an awful big risk for what could potentially happen. And as Mr. Price mentioned, the fact that once it's zoned heavy industrial, we can't go back. And we're just very uncomfortable with that particular zoning at this time. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, if I could amend my comments in one, I want to make sure I relay Dr. Briggs's comment. Barry fully supports rezoning the western portion of this for expansion into existing industries, VT and Lewis Chemical. Absolutely, they are fantastic community partners and have no objection to that. The question is the entire park. That's
Hi, Carrie Nobles, 309 Timothy Avenue. I'm a resident of Somerville Park, but also a teacher at West Central Elementary, and I'm coming to you really on behalf of my students and families who also live very close to the property. I have students on Woodbine, Delview, Fortune Street, and they're right over the railroad tracks from the property. Students right across at Redmond, or right behind at Redmond Chase, and right across at the new apartments, the Grove. And so Somerville Park isn't the only residential area that this will impact. And it will also impact our school and the environment that our students play in every day. And we are very blessed to have a wonderful school and wonderful playground environment. And I would hate for us to have more air pollution and noise pollution. We already have several factories around our school and around our neighborhoods. And so I would just ask you guys to consider those residents as well as the impact it'll have on our schools. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Chris Reyes, and I live at 202 Oakwood Street. Last time I come up here, y'all spoke about smart growth in Rome. The thing is it's not smart to give freedom to let somebody else decide what industry's coming in. This is why we have you here. This is why we voted for y'all. To make that decision and shift it off to somebody else and say, all right, bring industry in, and we're not having a voice at it after this, that's wrong. We trust y'all, not necessarily somebody else to decide what industry is good for us. We want that voice too. That takes it away if you give it now.
Vincent Mendes, 201 East 3rd Avenue. Pardon? So I live between the rivers. My mom lives in the neighborhood right there that's in question. But that's not really why I'm speaking against this. Just as a citizen of Rome, this strikes me as a terrible idea. But don't take my word for it. What do I know? Read the development plan that y'all paid $50,000 for that suggested making this a mixed-use area, not heavy industrial. I mean, there's nothing I can say that would make a better point of that than what says in that document. And when I hear what's being said here tonight about the changes that are made, I hear words like possibility of retaining some buildings, the potential of moving the entrances, a conceptual change, but there's no promises there. If y'all approve this, you're approving a pig and a poke tonight. You don't know what this is going to be, or some of you might, but none of it's specified. What do people want when they're looking to move into a new town? Are they looking for a big factory? I mean, we talk about this as if, well, there's houses near there, so we assume that people will work at that factory. People don't walk to factory jobs. This is a 1950s concept of living. People now look for a place where they can take a park, or a park that they can take their kids to. They look for a spot where there's different types of shops within walking distance. This is some of the nicest land in West Rome. I cannot imagine approving this as heavy industrial. And then to say that this is what people in Rome were voting for when they voted for the Splost? No, this was not on the table when people voted for that Splost, when I voted for it. If it said, let's put a big heavy industrial zoning in the middle of the Northwest regional area, I would have said absolutely not.
Thank you. Okay, if you'd like, the time is up. No, sir, we only have 10 minutes for each side, so the 10 minutes are up on opposition. You have time for if you have a rebuttal. No rebuttal, okay. Well, I will declare the public hearing closed, and at this time, I'll entertain a motion.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I would like to take a moment before I make my motion. I've been a commissioner for quite some time, over 20 years. I've been in that neighborhood over close to 30. I'm a little bit taken back as I come here this afternoon, listening to some of my fellow members from the neighborhood. We spent plenty of time talking about concessions and things that would be acceptable. I even got some emails. I sit here tonight again, I'm a little bit taken back. I don't like very much to be kind of told one thing and get on the floor and it's another, no different than you guys would be. Again, I'm a little bit confused. I done my homework though, as far as the likelihood of what could possibly be acceptable. Not just listening to my neighbors and conferring with them and conferring with professionals. I don't know if all of my neighbors at Summer Park know that the hospital has been there a great long time, as well as Talbot Park and also that community. I remember as a young man and first married, went there, and me and my wife made a phone call to try to rent a house over in that neighborhood. And when we showed up, it was all well on the phone, bring your deposit. Come and rent this house. And it was like, when we got there, I'm sorry, but we must have misconstrued. The place has already been rented. And then to move into that neighborhood as well, and be told after purchasing my home that I hope you're not going to have any junk cars around here. I can also tell you the history of that place out there that we're talking about rezoning has been a prison camp in that same neighborhood, that same close proximity. It also has been a TV camp for bringing people from all across the state. It also has been a mental ward for quite some time, with a different set of dangers for this here side of town and this community. But it is what it is. It has been. So what Bill Collins did as your representative for all the citizens, not just West Rome, I conferred with a lot of professionals. I worked with Jimmy Byers for a long time. I worked with several of my colleagues for a long time. And I don't know one time that they have looked at me in my eyes and told me something that didn't take place. I'm going to read this motion that I thought that we conferred with my neighbors. And I worked diligently to put it together in that manner. And I'm actually going to make this motion. The motion says, I move that we approve the motion to make the property of Northwest Regional Hospital a heavy industrial with the following conditions that were set out by the same neighbors that you just heard. The main entryway of this property would be off Redmond Road. There would be a 100-foot buffer in place, running along Division Street facing Charleston, going north. That there would be signage. These are on the same streets that I travel in, the same neighborhood that my grandbabies play in. and children. It would be signage that read, "No large trucks to travel up and down Charleston." As you heard Mr. Kendrick say, the church and the provision, the premise of that will be left in place. That was even discussed with one of the members of the association that said themselves that I don't think that probably would be that wise to make it part of the motion, because you could attract a Microsoft that might need a lot more of that land. These things could be possibly in the way. That wasn't my idea, that was an idea coming from the neighborhood. Number 5, in the industry. Thank you, Mr. Pro Temp. In industry, air quality meters, reader, will be in place at all times on the site. Incinerators for disposable waste or byproducts, and also no ongoing bottles of fuel replicas, apparels that would use this waste or byproduct as fuel. And there would be no landfills created on this here property. The premise, because I cannot speak for the Rome, Florida Development Authority, would recruit high-tech and neighborhood-friendly industry. Ladies and gentlemen of this here commission, that is my motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Okay, now any discussion from anyone on my right?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
The last, Commissioner Collins, the last thing you mentioned, high-tech industries. Are you saying that no heavy industrial industries such as already exist in the adjoining park could be in the park?
No, sir, I am not saying that.
Okay.
I think the safeguards with the air and the landfill, et cetera, was things that we put in place that I had not discussed with the neighborhood, but I thought to go a step further, to put them in place to further protect not only their families, but mine as well.
And another question, the air quality monitors, I don't understand exactly. If you could explain that.
Well, if I could help you out just a little bit, that's done by the EPA. And when this gentleman was working down at Inland Container some years back, and there was a power plant down there, that monitor was set up down there close proximity to make absolutely certain that that air quality was not imposing on the existing community around it. I will share with you that we have industry that's closer to neighborhoods in our downtown than it is the Northwest Regional Hospital property. Such things as the Southeastern Mills has been our neighbor for quite some time. Such things as the existing industry that VT is represented here today, as well as Lewis Chemical that sits across the street from one of our high standard elementary schools. So it's quite a few examples. Rome, I think, Mr. Commissioner, not only sets the example, but sets the bar when it comes to quality and doing what they say about things that they make promises to their citizens.
Mr. Commissioner, are you good? Commissioner McLean?
I'm good.
Okay. Anyone else on my right?
Yeah, I have one question. My neighbor, Mr. Price, mentioned that the very property that's available for industrial use. May I ask who markets that property, and can the same marketing be done, or can the two marketing entities get together and market that property on the same, those properties the same?
I think this is.
Mr. Mayor, if I could address that, the Development Authority and the Chamber has worked hard to market that property. We are not complaining about what they do. We've worked very diligently with them. They've presented it to a lot of different prospects. This property will be marketed by the same people who market out.
Any other questions on my right? Okay, I go to the left.
Just a comment or two. First, I want to thank the Somerville Park neighborhood for coming back. And our neighborhoods are very precious to our city. And we would never want anything negative to impact Somerville Park. I used to live in Somerville Park, grew up in Somerville Park. But we also are about partnerships. And the Development Authority is a partner not only to Berry College, but to the city of Rome. And we have our Rome mayor and our city manager that serves on that board. So we have representation. But I think there has to be a level of trust that the Development Authority is going to do the right thing for Somerville Park. And if you look at the history of the Development Authority, for the last 20 years, every new industry has been a positive for this community. So I think, as hard as it may be, we have to trust our leaders. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yes. So I also did my homework, and I also traveled to down to visit Somerville Park. I looked at how nice and vibrant and the investment that each one of you put into your homes. But I also drove that area. I drive that area every morning because I work for the Housing Authority, and I see the traffic flow. But if it was a mixed use, the traffic is still going to continue to flow. If it was businesses, the traffic is still going to continue to flow. And Somerville Park is a vibrant part of that community, but so is the Northwest Georgia Housing Authority, and so is the other houses that sit around that community. And I trust the Chamber of Commerce. I trust the Chamber of Commerce. I served with them. I trust Jimmy Byers. I haven't served on the redevelopment committee, but I trust the body. And then I started thinking about the area over there. If it was heavy industrial, who says that Amazon wouldn't come? Who says Costco wouldn't come? Who says Lowe's Distribution wouldn't want to expand? VT, I drove by and looked at VT. They do an excellent job of making sure that they keep it clean and safe for the community. I drove by and looked at Lewis Chemical. Actually did serve with Diane Lewis on the Habitat for Humanity board, and actually went into the facility. So I know that if the Development Authority and the Chamber of Commerce wanted to bring merchants in, they're going to make sure that it's resident friendly. They're going to make sure that they protect everybody in that area. They also wrote in, and I saw that there is a youth detention or redevelopment, or help me, y'all, what is that in that area? It sits in the back of Northwest Regional Hospital. Youth detention? Yes, juvenile detention. I can't see at the back of the housing, a youth detention center, anything that's going to harm. I just can't, I don't believe that we have anybody who's that heartless in this community. So I understand that there's the fear of the unknown, but you got to trust the people who believe in this community. You got to trust them, because I promise you, even if it was a mixed use, the traffic is still going to flow. That's my comment.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Just, I wanted to add that this doesn't need to be a 4-5 or a 5-4 vote. And I can only speak for myself, but this is a tremendous decision for this community. And we need to either be on board or off board. So that's my, thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Bojo.
Yes, thank you. I got a couple of questions that I would like to ask. First of all, we've heard a lot about chemicals that are being dumped in the rivers and the grounds that you do. And are any of those above the EPA limits?
Do you mean have people been cited for it?
Okay, then we need to work on getting them cited for it. We can't penalize somebody that wants to come in for something somebody else is doing. And I don't know who we need to contact to find out what they need, what we need to do, but we do it. As far as monitoring air quality, that should be done anyway. All that, you know, on every business, not just the new ones going in. And I don't know if they monitor that now, but if we're violating other chemical rules, we need to address that separately from this right here. And I guess that's really all I want to say or ask, because that's something that's really bothered me. But as a whole, I mean, I'm sure there's 47 businesses in the city of Rome, companies. I'm sure as a whole, or the numbers that we heard, is that as a whole of the 47, or is that just one or two in particular?
39 that report TRIs to the EPA.
So combined 39.
Except for 7 have had reports in the last.
Have they been cited?
Well, with the rules of the EPA doing this, depending on who's in administration, it depends, but I mean, sure, some of them have.
Okay, then we need to help beef that effort up if they're not doing their part. We need to handle that a different way. I don't have anything else.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
Yes, ma'am, Mayor Conley. Just let me start off by saying I've been truly impressed with Commissioner Collins, your effort to reach out to Somerville Park and the work that you've put in. I commend you for that. You've done an excellent job. You have been in contact with commissioners, including myself, asking us our concerns and our questions. You have been nothing but stellar to deal with on this, and I appreciate you doing that very much.
Thank you very much
for that. That's how an elected official should absolutely work. So, welcome.
Thank you very much. I do want to say one other thing, Madam Mayor, if I could, part of this motion. Time Mr. Attorney walked into caucus this evening, I did check with him about this motion to make absolutely certain that it was proper. He did make a couple of corrections, and those corrections had everything to do, Miss Missy, with the church and the pavilion being left in place. Mr. Attorney, could you explain to us the premise? Is the word that we added to that, exactly what that means?
I think you removed two things that you had as conditions.
We did, and the other one is?
You made those, as I understood, you were making those preferences, not conditions. That had to do with the church, and it also had to do with, I don't have in front of me the last thing.
Having to do with the referencing to Missy's job and Jimmy's job and the city and the county as well, and I couldn't speak for you doing your job. And so the premises was added as recruitment of high tech
preferences
and neighborhood friendly. And so I didn't want to leave the neighborhood hanging, to know that this was put in, and if they go back and look up the word premise, they understand exactly what it was that I was saying. I didn't want to ever tell them something or give them the assumption of something that I said as part of my motion that I didn't live up to.
Okay, thank you. Let me get the Commissioner Cochran more than finish. I'll go back to him and I'll come here.
Thank you. So I think it's worth mentioning, once again, what's within a 1 mile radius. I'm not going to read all the streets because there's 70-something. I will point out just some highlights. 4 nursing and retirement homes: Spires, Brookville, Seven Hills Place, Rome Health and Rehab. 5 schools: West Central, Elm Street, Rebecca Blaylock Kids World Learning Center, and the Regional Youth Development Center. Medical, we have the whole of the Advent Redmond Hospital, Harbin Pediatrics, Harbin Main Campus, Harbin Cardiology, and then there's multiple small doctor's offices: John Maddox, Highland Rivers. In terms of Berry College dormitories, you have Morton Lindley, Green, Dana, Thomas Berry, the townhomes, Morgan Deerfield. For apartments, you have Grove, Redmond Chase, Village Green, William Village, William Division. And for parks, you have Talbert and the GE Trails. Someone was also kind enough to do a population study within a 1 mile radius of that, and not counting the dormitory students or the residents in the nursing homes, 6,373 people within a 1 mile radius. And just also read some things. Fugitive air emissions that were released in 2020. Now, these aren't ones that are burned off, these are just released. 260,000 pounds of hydrogen sulfide, 206,000 pounds of methanol, 84,000 pounds of glycol, 78,000 pounds of N-butyl alcohol, 750 pounds of ammonia. Surface water discharges, 4,600 pounds of ammonia. That was surface water discharge, and I'm assuming it goes in, the EPA says it finds its way into the stormwater system or into creeks and eventually into rivers. 710 pounds of lead, 49,000 pounds of manganese compounds, 4,900 pounds of zinc. Just to hit some highlights. I've heard a lot of people say the word trust, and I would be remiss to not agree with every single thing that all of you have said in terms of trust. Nobody distrusts, as far as I can tell, a single person who is on or serves on or chooses to represent us at the Economic Development Authority, or nobody, as far as I can tell, distrusts the leadership at the chamber. Certainly don't distrust our mayor and our city manager. It's not the people who are in place that you have to trust, it's the people who produce the products that you have to wind up trusting at the end of the day. The same people who gave us PCBs, the same people who gave us PFAS, the same people who gave us arsenic, sulfuric acid, cobalt. And the industry has changed, and I get that. Zoning laws were originally, at least my understanding of them, and it's been a while since I took the history class. My understanding of zoning laws is they were written to start to separate tanneries and blacksmiths from houses. And all of a sudden we're going back and we're putting tanneries and blacksmiths on an industrial scale next to a whole bunch of houses. Fortunately, the EPA hasn't had a single report for Lewis Chemical Company or VTI. Thank y'all for being excellent corporate partners. We appreciate that very much. They're not the issue. The issue, as somebody mentioned, is the unknown. And while some of us want to, probably rightfully so, trust to a certain extent the unknown, it comes back and it bites us in our butt sometimes. to the point where of every single stream and river, creek in Rome, Georgia, there's only 2 that you can eat the fish out of. Because they either have mercury or they have PCBs in it. Once again, I appreciate Somerville Park doing your part in trying to negotiate in good faith. I appreciate Berry College and your concerns. It's the most beautiful campus in the world, based on Architectural Digest a couple of years back. You're rightfully concerned about your investment, and part of the reason that this is so difficult is we are all rightfully concerned about the generations that follow us and what they're going to have to deal with. And I know this is probably a losing battle, but I just don't want to have to look my kids in the eyes 30 years from now and say, yeah, I know you're dealing with X chemical that's now in the river. It will never go away. But we really needed 500 jobs that paid $19 an hour. It's just painful. That's all. I'm done. Thank you.
Since I made the motion, I would follow up what Commissioner Cochran has just said and tell him I reached out to Commissioner Cochran earlier today, probably more than once. A lot of times you probably would get lost in his facts and figures, but I can tell you that a lot of times he's spot on. What I like about what he brings to the table is the fact that he's my junior as far as the time and experience that I've put into what it is that we do up here on this here commission. And it's going to be a lot of times, commissioners, that you guys are going to have to make some real tough decisions. But I don't think it's a citizen out there that's listening to you. As you heard this here senior over here beside me talk to you this evening, that the good thing about what we did last week was we let the neighborhood and everybody in the neighborhoods all across this here city know that we care enough that we put it off. Take time out to get the best information we could. And that's what I think Commissioner Cochran does and is trying to express to his listeners out there. There's no way I would say to you, Commissioner Cochran, and I take this time out because I want my fellow neighbors to understand and know what goes on up here, not only behind closed doors and when we go home, etc. Commissioner is never off. There's no way we gonna always get it right. If we did, it wouldn't be a brownfield. That those people were sitting there just like us and were trying to make certain. There was no way that it would be those mimosas that these communities haven't spent all this money to try to fight off. There's no way, ladies and gentlemen, that we have a crystal ball that we can tell you for certainty. It is what it is. All you can do is basically make your decision and vote.
Yeah, I'd like to make one more, well, make a couple of comments, but I see where everybody's coming from, and I get that. But here's the thing with, there's land down Technology Parkway that's been zoned industrial. Am I correct?
Mm-hmm.
That's probably closer to Berry College than this property.
No, it's not.
It's not?
1 mile further from the door.
It's pretty close.
If you look at
It's
our
right,
property,
it's right over the hill.
Hold on just a minute, Mr. Price, you can't. Okay.
This is a discussion.
Yes.
At this point, with just the commissioners.
Okay.
he directed that, me, sorry.
No, I wasn't directing it at anybody. I was making a statement.
Commissioner Bowser.
Okay. I'm sorry, I guess I misspoke, but I do want to go back to the numbers you read. Again, are those within the legal limits? Or did one company dump those? Or so are we gonna make everybody pay for the errors of a certain company?
I'm not gonna start naming companies, they're all.
I'm not asking you to name them.
Look, here's something that you need to know.
Okay, listen, I'm gonna address the commissioners. Let's discuss the motion at hand. We're not gonna get into the other stuff that's been, that'll be for another time. Okay, that will be for another time. Just the motion, the motion at hand. Do I have any other discussion about the motion and the second?
I would like to.
Quick, yes, sir.
I've spent a lot of years, as well as a lot of the other commissioners up here, and I chaired the Economic Development Authority years ago. I've worked with the Chamber. I've worked with many of you in many capacities. We have had a common goal in this community for the greater part of my professional life, and that is, what are we going to create for our children when they graduate that keeps them here? We have 2 college and career academies. That is a blessing. We have Georgia Northwestern Technical College. We have Georgia Highlands. When a new president came in, went around and said, what jobs are out there and how do we develop curriculum to put those young people to work when they graduate? We have Berry College. We have Shorter College. We are creating an educational atmosphere that creates a dynamic workforce. Where do we want them to go when they graduate? This is an opportunity that builds tomorrow.
Okay. Thank you. No more discussion. Mr. Clerk, if you would, call the roll, please.
Yes, ma'am. Commissioner Cochran?
I'm sorry, Commissioner Bojo has a question.
What exactly are we voting on? To approve this motion?
Approve the motion, yes, the heavy
Just the
industrial,
motion?
the heavy industrial, yeah, that Commissioner Collins.
And then we're gonna vote again on the property?
No, this
It's
is,
all one?
this everything, yes, right
Okay.
now.
Just wanna make sure.
Okay, yes, sir, okay.
Motion with conditions.
Yeah, motion with conditions, that's correct. Go ahead.
Commissioner Cochran?
No.
Bojo?
Yes.
Beeman?
Yes.
Doss?
Yes.
Quick?
Yes.
Askew?
Yes.
Collins?
Yes.
McDaniel?
Yes.
Motion carries, thank you. Okay. Okay, if you'd like to, yeah, take the time to leave, you could leave right now. We'll give you a minute. Thank you for being here, we appreciate your concerns. Thank you, okay. Mr. Clark?
No report, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Manager?
Nothing further, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Attorney? Okay, thank you. Under my time, the Rome Florida Development Authority will meet on Tuesday, May the 17th at 10 a.m. at the Manus Building Center. That's all I have. Thank you. Okay. Commissioner Cochran?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The Finance Committee will meet next Wednesday, May the 18th at 10 a.m. in the Sam King Room. And an interesting thing to note is the Rome City Schools will be presenting their 2022-2023 budget for that meeting. Public Works, Traffic, and Transit will be meeting this Wednesday at 10 o'clock a.m. in the Sam King Room. And under solid waste, if it is okay, we need to look at approving the January through March 2022 recycling deficit invoices. And these are essentially coming from 2 different entities. One is the Solid Waste Commission, and one is the City of Rome. This is a 3-way split with the county in terms of paying for recycling, which unfortunately loses money, but we all consider it such a necessity that we are willing to lose money to keep it in place. And to do so, we need to approve these invoices that are due. So the first one I would like to make a motion on is the 2022 first quarter recycling from the Solid Waste Commission.
Second.
Okay, in the amount of $34,694.71.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Do I have any discussion? No discussion, Mr. Clerk, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Cochran?
Yes.
Bojo?
Yes.
Beeman?
Yes.
Doss?
Yes.
Quick?
Yes.
Askew?
Yes.
Collins?
Yes?
McDaniel?
Yes.
Thank you. The second motion I would like to make is from the Rome City portion for paying for the recycling. It is the exact same amount as the Solid Waste Commission, which comes up to $34,694.71.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second?
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any questions?
Can I make a comment?
Yes, sir.
As we look at renegotiating our lost, isn't this an issue where the city's bearing their third, but the county, we're paying county taxes? Just a question.
It's a fair point. Thank you. Okay. Duly noted. Thank you. Any other discussion? If not, Mr. Clerk, if you will, call the roll.
Commissioner Cochran?
Yes.
Bojo?
Yes.
Beeman?
Yes.
Doss?
Yes.
Quick?
Yes.
Askew?
Yes.
Collins?
Yes?
McDaniel?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
That concludes my report, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Commissioner Bojo.
Yes, thank you. I've got a couple of things. First of all, redevelopment is going to have a call meeting Wednesday of this week, 2:30 in the afternoon in Sam King Room. And I encourage everyone on the commission, anyone out here that, to be there if you can possibly be. The group from Four Stones, who is developing West Third, will be there to, I guess, show us their plans and go over that. Also, we will have KAB, I guess it's company, whatever, same.
Yeah, the Blakely Advisory Group.
Blakely, okay, advisory group. They have been working on the TAD proposal for the Martha Berry corridor and North Broad Street, and they have both of those ready for us. So we will not only hear from Four Stones, but we will hear from them concerning Martha Berry and North Broad. And then also, we are going to just take a quick look. It's going to be a long meeting. We're going to take a quick look at the housing and pretty much what Sammy showed a little while ago about what we have in the hopper right now and what could possibly be built. But again, that's Wednesday this week, 2:30 in the Sam King Room. And I encourage everybody to be there. Also, Transportation Policy Committee will meet Wednesday, May 18th, 10 o'clock in the Sam King Room, and that concludes my report.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Beeman.
The Alcohol and Control Commission will meet Monday, May the 16th at 5:00 p.m. in the Commissioners' Chambers. The Historic Preservation Committee will meet on Wednesday, May the 18th at 2:30 p.m. in the Sam King Room. And Keep Rome Floyd Beautiful Commission on Friday, May the 6th had their joint city and county cleanup took place. On May the 16th, there will be another cleanup, and it will be of the river cleanup, May the 16th, the River City cleanup. And then Keep Rome Floyd Beautiful will meet on Monday, May the 23rd at 4:00 p.m. in the Sam King Room. And the Library Board will meet on May the 19th at 4:00 p.m. in the Barron Room on the second floor in the library. And we do have one vacant seat for an appointment. And Madam Mayor, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Commissioner Beeman. Commissioner Doss.
Mayor, the only thing I want to mention is if you were in town last weekend, you wouldn't believe how many people were in our city, in our downtown. It was just packed. And from the standpoint of tourism, it was a great weekend. Thank you. That's my report.
Thank you, Commissioner Doss. Commissioner Quick.
Just one committee meeting to announce, Madam Mayor. The Downtown Development Authority will meet Thursday, May 12th, 8:30 in the morning in the Carnegie Training Room. That's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Askew.
The Fire Overview Committee will meet tomorrow at 10 a.m. in the Sam King Room. The Public Safety Committee will meet Tuesday, May 17th at 2 p.m. in the Sam King Room. And the Peace Officers Memorial Service will be Friday, May 13th at 11 a.m. at the Law Enforcement Complex Memorial Plaza. And there's a flyer that goes along with that, but I don't have it. And that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Collins.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I will tell you that we did have our general administration meeting. As you heard in caucus, we talked about such things as increase to commissioners' pay, as well as we had a new, if Mr. Clerk could help me out, is sharing with us who is our new people at our golf facility at Stonebridge, as well as our tennis center. If you could tell us a little something about them, and we'll get them here so you can actually get them opportunity to see them in person.
Right, Commissioner Collins. We do have a new general manager at Stonebridge who's an employee of Indigo Sports Management, Indigo Golf. His name is Leif Smith, Mr. Leif Smith, and he replaces Patrick Kern, who is still with the company and still lives in Rome, but is no longer the general manager at Stonebridge. He moved into a different role. And you all also had a chance to meet the general manager at the Rome Tennis Center at Berry College, who's a member of the management company, and his name is Colt Gaston, and he is a native Roman.
I might add Colt is probably one of the best tennis players to come out of this community.
Great. Well, they're doing a fantastic job according to the numbers. I can't wait to see as they get their feet wet and move forward, the improvements, etc. We did put an emphasis on dealing with bringing more minorities into the sports of tennis. We have a great deal of participation going on already at the golf facility, with the high schools being involved, etc. So they're going to be working on that, and hopefully we're going to have some other things that are coming down the pipeline that introducing young folks to that gang. I will tell you also that as you heard at our retreat, that Commissioner Beeman has brought to us the youth commission prospect, and she did a great deal of work on it through GMA, and she brought it to us at General Administration. It was voted on that should take place here in the city of Rome, and that with this commission, with a unanimous vote, and so you can look forward going forward as she, Mr. Manager and her work together to try to put dot all the I's and cross all the T's to be ready to roll this out sometime in August. Would you like to add anything to that, Ms. Bean?
So it was presented to our city manager a combination of GMA and the city of Florida. And he loved the prospect. He loved the opportunity. So he said it would be a good blend for both. So it's in now it's in his hands, and I have his back.
Well, apparently all the commissioners on general administration, Commissioner Dawes as well as myself and yourself, thought the same thing, and the manager got a little bit of work to do, as well as adding a little bit of a kitty to the budget. And I'm thinking that that's all we have. I had to counsel community development. We don't have anything coming up this month. And committee on committee, I look forward to hearing from Joe as to the vacancy that's on the library, correct?
Yes, sir. We have a possible candidate, so we'll be discussing that soon and moving forward with it.
Madam Mayor, that's all I have. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Commissioner Collins. Commissioner McDaniel.
Parks and Rec will hold its advisory board meeting on Tuesday, May 17th at 12 p.m. at the Shorter Avenue headquarters, and that's all I have.
Just like to say to all the commissioners, I appreciate all the work that you do. You do it with passion, and we're here to serve the citizens of Rome, and I appreciate it. And thank you all for being here. With that, we are adjourned.